Ethan Miller was just a quiet technician living and working on a small human outpost at the edge of known space. He never dreamed his life would change. But everything changed on the day he received a strange message from the Galactic Council. The message was simple but mysterious. It said he had been selected to receive a diplomatic gift from the alien king of the Suralis race. Ethan had heard stories about the Suralis before. They were proud and cold, and most humans had never even met one. His friends on the outpost did not take the message seriously. Sam, who fixed broken machines, joked about what kind of gift it would be. Olivia, who was in charge of communications, guessed it might be something weird. Jake, who helped keep the power running, laughed and said maybe Ethan would get a robot. Nobody expected what actually happened. One bright morning, a small shuttle landed near the outpost. It looked strange compared to the old human ships. The Galactic Council symbol was painted on the side, shining in the sun. The door opened, and two tall council members walked out. They did not speak, only nodded and pointed to the ship's entrance. Ethan, nervous and confused, walked over with his friends behind him. He was told to step forward alone. Inside the shuttle, he saw a young woman standing straight and proud. She had smooth violet skin, long dark hair, and her eyes shone like deep blue water. She wore a simple but beautiful dress and did not look afraid. Ethan was surprised when she spoke to him in perfect English. She said, "My name is Lyra. I am the daughter of King Darren of the Suralis." Ethan stood there in silence. He did not know what to say. Lyra continued, "I am your gift. My father has sent me to you, as the council decided. I do not belong to you, but I have no choice." Her voice was steady, but Ethan could hear sadness behind her words. Outside, Sam, Olivia, and Jake waited. When Ethan walked out with Lyra beside him, they could not believe their eyes. Sam's mouth dropped open. Olivia smiled, but Jake looked worried. The council members handed Ethan a small data tablet. It explained that Lyra was now under his care, a gesture meant to be both a joke and a test for humanity. Rumors spread quickly on the outpost. Some said Lyra was dangerous. Others thought the council was trying to insult humans. Ethan did not care about any of that. He looked at Lyra and saw someone alone, far from home. He decided to treat her with kindness. He introduced Lyra to his friends. Sam tried to make her laugh. Olivia welcomed her with open arms. Jake watched from a distance, still unsure. Ethan prepared a small room for Lyra in the outpost. She thanked him but did not smile. That first night, Lyra sat by the window and stared at the stars. She wondered what her future would be like. Ethan brought her a blanket and asked if she was cold. She said no, but thanked him anyway. He told her she could talk to him about anything. Days passed, and Lyra watched how the humans lived. She saw that they were not as cruel as she had been told. Olivia explained how things worked and shared food with her. Sam taught her how to fix simple machines. Jake watched over her quietly, never saying much. The Galactic Council watched everything, threw cameras and sent more messages. They wanted to see if Ethan would treat Lyra as property or as a person. The Suralis king, far away on his own planet, waited to hear if his plan had worked. He wanted Lyra to feel unwanted, and he wanted to see humans embarrassed, but Ethan did not see Lyra as a burden. One evening, he found her standing outside, looking at the night sky. He asked her about her home. Lyra told him stories of the Suralis, their big cities, and why she did not fit in. She explained that her people cared only for power, and she never wanted to hurt anyone. That is why her father sent her away. Ethan listened and said, "You are safe here." He promised to help her find her place. Slowly, Lyra started to believe him. She noticed small things: Sam's jokes, Olivia's kindness, even Jake's quiet nods. She began to think maybe, just maybe, she was not unwanted here. At the end of the first week, a small problem happened at the outpost. Something broke in the main hall. Lyra watched as Ethan and the others worked together to fix it. She felt a strange hope. one she had not felt before. Maybe this new world was not as bad as she thought. Maybe, with Ethan and his friends, she could start a new life. Lyra tried her best to learn about her new life on the human outpost. Everything was different from her home world. The walls were made of old metal, not shining crystal like on Sorali's. The air smelled of oil and food instead of the sweet perfumed flowers she knew. Lyra missed her family, but she also remembered that they had never really wanted her around. Every day, Ethan checked on Lyra to make sure she was all right. He showed her how to use the kitchen and told her she could eat anything she liked. Olivia spent time with her and told her stories about Earth. Olivia laughed a lot and wanted Lyra to join in, but Lyra found it hard. The jokes were strange to her. Still, she liked Olivia's kindness. Sam made Lyra help him fix machines. He was patient and always explained everything step by step. He said, "Here, hold this tool. Now, watch what I do." Soon Lyra learned how to open a panel and tighten loose wires. She was proud of herself. Jake still watched Lyra from a distance. He did not trust her, even though she tried to be friendly. He once said to Ethan, "You don't know what she can do. What if she's dangerous?" Ethan shook his head and answered, "She's just a person, like us." The other people at the outpost talked about Lyra. Some were curious, but others were afraid. Lyra heard people whispering in the hallways. Some thought she was a spy. Others said she must have done something very bad to be sent away by her own family. Lyra felt sad and alone, but she tried not to show it. She kept herself busy learning about the outpost and helping Sam with his work. One day, while Lyra and Sam worked in the engine room, the lights flickered and went out. The emergency alarms began to ring. Olivia called on the radio. "We have a problem. The main system is shutting down." Ethan and Jake ran to help. Everyone moved quickly, but nobody knew what had caused the problem. Lyra watched Ethan as he checked the computer screens. He looked worried. The main power system was down, and if it did not come back soon, the outpost would lose air and heat. Lyra wanted to help. She remembered what Sam had taught her. She asked Sam to show her where the power lines were. Sam nodded and gave her a flashlight. Together, they crawled into a dark tunnel where the wires ran. Inside, it was cold and tight. Sam could not reach one of the broken wires, but Lyra's hands were smaller. She listened to Sam's instructions and used the tools to fix the connection. Sam smiled and said, "Good job, Lyra." They climbed back out and turned on the main power switch. The lights came back, and the alarm stopped. Ethan thanked Lyra for her help. He told everyone what she had done. For the first time, some of the crew looked at her with respect. Even Jake nodded and said, "Not bad." Lyra felt proud. She smiled, and Olivia hugged her, but the day was not over. Later that evening, Ethan found a small device hidden in the hallway. It was not human technology. Olivia studied it and said, "This was left here on purpose." The crew realized someone wanted the outpost to fail. Olivia sent a message to the Galactic Council, telling them what happened. The Council only replied, "We are watching." Lyra sat in her room thinking about everything. She wondered if someone wanted her gone, or maybe it was a test from the Council. Ethan came to talk to her. He said, "You did great today. We all saw what you can do." Lyra asked, "Do you think they will send me away again?" Ethan answered, "No, you belong here now. You helped save us." From that day, Lyra worked harder to fit in. She learned more about machines from Sam and helped Olivia with communication systems. Jake still watched her, but slowly, he seemed less afraid. People at the outpost started to greet her in the halls. She was not just the king's unwanted daughter anymore. She was part of the team. At night, Lyra thought of her old life and her father's cold words. But when she remembered how Ethan and the others treated her, she felt hope. She wanted to stay and be useful. She wanted to prove to everyone, and maybe to herself, that she was not a burden. The Galactic Council continued to watch, but Lyra did not care about their tests anymore. She was determined to make a place for herself among the humans. Lyra was slowly becoming used to life on the outpost. Each morning she helped Sam with repairs. She listened to Olivia's stories about Earth and even started telling her own stories from Seralis. Some people still stared at her, but now they were curious, not afraid. Lyra felt different. She was still far from home, but she no longer felt invisible. Ethan noticed how hard Lyra worked. He made sure to thank her each day. He saw that she was learning fast, not just about machines, but about people. Lyra listened when people spoke and tried to understand their feelings. Even Jake began to speak to her a little more. He asked about her world, and she told him about the crystal forest and the blue rivers of Seralis. Jake listened with interest, and sometimes even smiled. One afternoon, an announcement came from the Galactic Council. The message was read aloud in the main hall. The council would be sending delegates to visit the outposts. Everyone was nervous. They wanted to make a good impression. Lyra could feel the tension. She wondered if the council had planned something new. The day of the visit came quickly. A small ship landed outside, and the council delegates stepped out in their long silver robes. They walked through the outpost, looking at everything and speaking very little. Ethan welcomed them and showed them around. Lyra tried to keep out of sight, but one of the delegates spotted her. The delegate asked, "Is this the Seralis princess?" Ethan nodded. The delegate looked at Lyra and said, "Do you feel welcome here?" Lyra thought about her answer. She remembered her first days on the outpost, the whispers and the fear. Then she remembered Sam's patience, Olivia's laughter, Jake's questions, and Ethan's kindness. She said, "Yes, I feel welcome. I have friends here." The delegates looked surprised. They asked Lyra more questions about her life and work. She answered each one simply and honestly. The council members left after a short time. That night, Ethan called the crew together. He told everyone that the council seemed impressed by Lyra's answers. Sam clapped her on the back, and Olivia hugged her again. Jake gave her a small smile. For the first time, Lyra felt she really belonged. But the peace did not last. A few days later, the outpost water supply system started having problems. The pressure dropped and the alarms rang out. Ethan rushed to the control room. Sam and Lyra hurried to the water tanks. Olivia tried to call for help, but the signal was weak. Lyra quickly checked the system and saw that a main valve was stuck. She remembered something Sam had taught her about old machines. Working together, they opened the panel and found the problem. The valve was blocked by a small piece of metal. Lyra used a tool to remove it, and water began to flow again. The alarm stopped, and everyone cheered. Afterwards, Ethan checked the security cameras. He saw that someone had placed the metal in the valve on purpose. This was not an accident. Someone was trying to cause trouble at the outpost. Olivia wondered if it was a test from the council or maybe a warning from the Seralis. Ethan told everyone to be careful and to watch for anything strange. Lyra felt worried. She asked Ethan if she was causing trouble just by being there. Ethan told her no. He said, "You are helping us. We're better because you're here." That evening, Ethan and Lyra sat outside under the stars. Lyra looked up and said, "On my world, I was always alone. Here, I have friends. I want to help, not bring trouble." Ethan smiled and said, "You are helping. You make us better." News of the outpost quick repair spread to other stations. People sent messages to Ethan and Lyra asking how they fixed things so fast. Some even wanted to visit and learn from them. The outpost became known for its teamwork and problem-solving. Lyra was proud of herself. She realized that she was not just the king's unwanted daughter anymore. She was part of something bigger. Even when small things went wrong, she knew she could trust her friends. The crew trusted her too. In the days that followed, Lyra spent more time with Olivia, learning about human music and food. She told more stories from Seralis, and the crew listened with interest. Jake even asked her to show him how to fix a small machine using her Sorali skills. For the first time, Lyra looked forward to each new day. She felt hope growing inside her, and she was not afraid of what would come next. Lyra's days on the outpost became a routine. She worked with Sam on machines, helped Olivia with reports, and sometimes shared meals with Ethan and Jake. She still missed her old home, but she was glad to feel useful. Even Jake, who had once watched her with suspicion, now sometimes sat beside her during breaks. Sometimes he asked about Soralis, and sometimes he told stories about his childhood on Earth. But one morning, a new message came from the Galactic Council. This time, the message was not friendly. It said that the king of the Soralis wanted his daughter to return home at once. The message was read aloud by Olivia, who looked worried as she read the words. The whole outpost fell quiet. Lyra felt fear in her heart. She did not want to go back. She remembered her father's cold voice, his hard eyes. She looked at Ethan and saw that he was also troubled. Ethan met with his friends in a small room. "We can't force her to go," he said. "She should choose for herself." Sam nodded in agreement. Olivia said, "What if the council sends someone to take her by force?" Jake looked at Lyra and said softly, "We'll protect you." Lyra was surprised by the support she felt. She had not expected humans to care so much about her future. The next day, a strange ship appeared on the scanners. It was not a council ship and did not answer any messages. It landed near the outpost, and a group of Sorali's guards stepped out. They carried weapons and wore dark armor. Ethan stood at the entrance with his friends. Lyra stayed behind them, feeling both afraid and angry. She did not want to be treated as someone's property ever again. The leader of the Sorali's guards spoke with a cold voice. "We have come to take the princess home. She belongs to the king." Ethan stepped forward and said, "Lyra does not belong to anyone. She is free to decide." The guard shook his head. "She is Sorali's. You are not family. You cannot keep her." The outpost crew stood together, showing that they would not step aside. The guards pushed forward, but Jake and Sam blocked the door. Olivia called for help on the radio. Lyra watched from behind, her heart pounding. She knew she had to do something. With a deep breath, she walked out to face the guards. Lyra looked at the guard leader and said, "I am not going with you." "This is my choice." The guards seemed shocked. They did not expect her to speak up. Ethan stepped beside her. "We stand with Lyra," he said. The Sorali's guards argued for a moment, then backed away. They sent a message to the king, reporting what had happened. The king's answer was quick and harsh. "If my daughter will not return, the humans will pay." That night, the crew sat together. They were worried. The king's threats could mean trouble for everyone. Lyra felt guilty. She did not want anyone to be hurt because of her. Ethan put a hand on her shoulder and said, "This is not your fault. We choose to help you." A few days later, supplies stopped arriving at the outpost. Food and tools were running low. The crew guessed that the council, under the king's pressure, was trying to force them to send Lyra back. Olivia worked hard to find new supply routes. Sam fixed old machines so they would last longer. Jake grew vegetables in small pots by the window. Everyone did their best, but it was not easy. During this hard time, Lyra tried to help wherever she could. She learned how to repair broken filters and helped Olivia send secret messages to other human outposts. She even found a way to trade small machine parts with a friendly alien trader. The outpost started to survive again, though everyone had to work harder. One night, someone tried to sneak into the outpost. The alarms went off and the crew rushed to the entrance. It was a Sorali's agent trying to find Lyra. The crew stopped him and sent a message to the council, demanding that the attack stop. Olivia recorded the whole event and sent it to other outposts. Soon, many people knew what was happening. Messages. A support began to arrive. Other humans and some aliens sent help and food. Ethan called everyone together. "We will not give up," he said. We are a team. Lyra felt tears in her eyes. She saw that she was no longer alone. Even in the hardest times, her new friends stood by her. The outpost became a symbol of hope. More people started to see that Lyra was not a burden, but a friend and a helper. As the days passed, the pressure from the king and the council continued. But so did the support from others. Lyra was proud of what she and the humans had done. She knew her choice had started something new. For the first time, she believed that she really belonged. The days grew colder and supplies were running low at the outpost. Ethan and his team did their best to stretch what little they had. Lyra helped by fixing broken machines so they would not waste any power or food. Sam and Jake worked longer, hours to keep the outpost running. Olivia spent every free moment sending messages to other outposts asking for help. Even though it was hard, nobody gave up. They all stood together. Each day brought new challenges. Sometimes the lights would flicker because of power shortages. Other times, the water was not enough for everyone. But the outpost crew shared what they had. Lyra learned how to plant seeds with Jake. She took care of the small green plants by the window, hoping they would grow fast. One evening, a message came from the Galactic Council. The message said the council would not help until Lyra returned to her father. The king of the Suralis was trying to force the humans to send his daughter back. Olivia read the message out loud and then looked at Lyra. "It's your choice," she said gently. Lyra shook her head. "I do not want to go back," she said quietly. Ethan decided he could not let the council bully them. He called everyone together in the main hall. "We stand with Lyra," he said. "We will not give in to threats. We are family." Sam and Jake agreed. Olivia smiled at Lyra and gave her a quick hug. Lyra felt hope in her heart. The council sent more warnings, but Ethan and his friends did not give up. Instead, they worked harder. Lyra and Olivia thought of new ways to contact other human outposts in secret. Sam repaired old equipment that nobody had used in years. Jake grew more food, and soon the outpost started trading small things for supplies. With friendly traders. One night, as Lyra watched the stars outside, Ethan joined her. He said, "I know it is not easy, but you have made us stronger. You have given us hope." Lyra felt proud. She smiled for the first time in days. Suddenly, a new message arrived from a human outpost nearby. They had heard about Lyra and wanted to help. They sent food and power cells. Soon, messages from other humans arrived too. Even a few aliens sent small gifts. The outpost became a symbol of hope for many who felt alone or unwanted, but the council was not finished. One day, council ships arrived and landed near the outpost. The delegates walked in and told Ethan to step down as leader. They said humans had broken council rules by protecting Lyra. Ethan refused. "We will not send her away," he said calmly. The delegates threatened to shut down the outpost for good. Everyone was afraid, but Ethan did not back down. Ethan stood before the whole outpost and spoke to the delegates. "People are not things to be traded or thrown away," he said. "We are all worth something because of what we do, not where we come from." His words were simple but strong. The crew cheered. Even some of the delegates looked unsure. Lyra watched as Ethan spoke. She realized that he was not just protecting her. He was standing up for everyone who had ever felt unwanted or alone. She remembered her father's words and felt sad, but now she also felt strong. She was not alone anymore. After the speech, messages from other outposts and alien friends poured in. They told the council to stop their unfair treatment. Some even promised to stop working with the council unless Lyra and the outposts were left alone. The delegates grew worried. They realized that if they pushed too hard, they would lose the trust of many. Ethan and Lyra met with the crew that night. "We started as just a few people on a small outpost," Ethan said. "Now we have friends everywhere. We are not alone." The crew felt proud and brave. Lyra sat by her window that night and watched the stars. She knew the fight was not over, but she felt hopeful. She had never felt so strong or so sure about her place in the world. The humans had chosen to stand with her even when it was hard. She was not the king's unwanted daughter anymore. She was part of something good. As the days went on, life slowly became easier. The outpost survived, and new friends helped whenever they could. Lyra was proud to be part of the team. She knew her choice had started something new and important. No matter what happened next, she was ready to face it with her friends by her side. The outpost was quiet as night fell, but nobody slept easily. Ethan knew the council would not give up so soon. Lyra felt the same, but she was not afraid. She had her friends beside her, and together they had already survived so much. In the morning, Olivia brought news that many outposts and even some aliens were sending more help. Messages came in from across the galaxy. Some people said they were proud of what the humans had done. Others said they wished they could do the same for those who felt unwanted. Even with the support, the council kept trying to push the humans. The outpost got another message saying supplies would be stopped again unless Lyra was sent away. But this time, other outposts answered the council's message. They all agreed to share what they had, so nobody would be left alone. For the first time, the council saw that their plan was failing. Lyra worked harder than ever. She fixed broken panels, helped Jake with the plants, and learned to send coded messages with Olivia. She told Ethan that she wanted to help everyone who had ever felt unwanted, not just herself. Ethan smiled at her and said, "You're a leader now, Lyra." One afternoon, Lyra got a secret message from a friend she had made among the council's own staff. This friend sent proof that some council members were not following their own rules. They had been taking bribes and using their power to control others. Lyra showed the message to Ethan and Olivia. Olivia said, "We can use this to show everyone what the council is really doing." Ethan and Lyra met with the crew. They decided to share the evidence with every outpost and alien group that had sent them support. Olivia sent out the proof. As a simple message, the council has broken its own rules. In a few hours, everyone knew the truth. Some council members tried to deny it, but too many people had already seen the message. Across the galaxy, people began to speak up. Humans and aliens started to demand change. Even some of the council's own guards stopped listening to orders. The king of the Sorales was angry and sent a harsh message, but nobody seemed afraid anymore. Lyra felt hope and pride. She saw that she was not just helping herself, but many others too. The next day, a group of council delegates came to the outpost. They wanted to speak with Ethan and Lyra. They looked tired and worried. The lead delegate said, "We must listen. To the people now, things will be different." The delegates promised to make new rules and end the practice of sending unwanted people away as gifts or jokes. Ethan thanked the delegates, but said, "We will not forget what happened here." "You must keep your promise." Lyra spoke too. She said, "We will watch, and we will help others who need it." The delegates agreed. As they left, Ethan and Lyra stood together at the entrance of the outpost. They watched the council ship rise and disappear into the stars. The outpost was safe for now, and supplies started arriving again. Friends sent messages of thanks. Some even asked if they could visit. Jake and Sam fixed old rooms for new guests. Olivia started teaching other outposts how to use the coded messages Lyra had made. Lyra was busy every day, but she was happy. She found new friends from many places. She helped make new rules for outposts so nobody would ever be unwanted again. Ethan sometimes laughed and said, "We used to be a small crew with only a few friends. Now look at us." One night, as the sun set and the stars appeared, Lyra sat with Ethan on the roof. She said, "I never thought I could make a difference." Ethan smiled at her. "You changed everything," he said. "You made us all better." Lyra looked up at the stars and remembered her old life. She knew she would never go back to being the lonely, unwanted daughter. Now she was a leader and a friend. She had found her place, not just on the outpost, but in the hearts of many. Life at the outpost slowly returned to normal. The gardens by the windows grew green again, and the storage rooms were full of supplies. People smiled more and laughed during meals. Lyra noticed how much had changed. She was no longer a stranger or a burden. She was an important part of the team, and everyone knew it. New visitors started to arrive at the outpost. Some were human, and some were from other worlds. They came to learn about how the outpost had survived when times were hard. Ethan welcomed them and showed them around. Lyra helped Olivia teach the new guests how to use the codes and systems that had kept everyone safe. Lyra made friends with a group of young engineers from another outpost. She told them stories of her home world, Siralis, and listened to their stories about Earth and other places. She found that even though people were different, they shared many of the same hopes and dreams. Sometimes she would smile and laugh, remembering her first days on the outpost, when everything felt so strange and lonely. Jake built a bigger garden with help from the visitors. Sam worked on new machines that made work easier. Olivia started a regular meeting where people could share news and ideas from across the galaxy. The outpost felt alive and full of hope. One afternoon, a special message arrived. The Galactic Council had voted to change many of their old rules. They would no longer allow any king or leader to send away unwanted family members as gifts. The council thanked the outpost for showing them a better way. Lyra felt proud. She had helped change not just her own life, but the lives of many others. The Siralis king sent a short message. He did not say much, but Lyra could sense that he was watching. For the first time, he did not order her to return home. Instead, he said, "Do as you wish." Lyra felt both sad and free. She hoped that one day her father would understand why she had chosen this new path. Ethan called everyone together for a small celebration. He thanked each person for their courage and kindness. "We showed the galaxy that nobody should be unwanted or alone," he said. "We did it together." People cheered and hugged each other. Lyra stood beside Ethan and smiled. She felt stronger than she ever had before. Soon after, a large ship landed outside the outpost. It carried new supplies and a team of diplomats from different worlds. They came to learn about the outpost's success and asked Lyra to help write new rules for peace. Lyra worked with the diplomats every day. She wrote simple rules so every person, no matter where they came from, would be treated with respect and care. Sam and Jake fixed more rooms so the outpost could welcome even more guests. Olivia worked on a big project to connect outposts across the galaxy so nobody would feel alone again. Life was busy, but everyone was happy. Late one night, Lyra sat by the window and looked up at the stars. She remembered the long journey from Siralis and all the days she had felt unwanted. Now her life was full of hope. She had friends and a family on the outpost. She knew she had made the right choice. As the new sun rose, Ethan and Lyra watched the first visitors of the day step off their ship. Ethan said, "We started small, but look at what we built." Lyra nodded. "We built something good. We built a home." The story of the outpost spread across the galaxy. People far away heard about the girl who was once unwanted but helped change everything. Some came to visit, some sent messages of thanks, and others simply tried to be kinder in their own lives. Lyra knew the journey was not over. There would always be new challenges, but she was ready. She was not afraid anymore. She had found her place, her friends, and her purpose among the stars. And as she looked out the window, she felt a quiet joy, knowing she would never be alone again.